Man, I'm thin. Yo, how's it going? If my voice sounds a bit funky to you, it's because I'm playing around with the audio now with softwares like Audacity. I still don't know my way around that thing, so it'll take me some time to get used to it. It's either more complicated than it looks, or I'm just an idiot. Just bear with me for a few videos, it will get better, I promise. Anyway, you read the title, you know what's up. We're talking about this. It's the ColorFit Pro from Noise. It's their fitness tracker with the colored display. I've been seeing ads about this thing everywhere. I mean, I saw an ad on my own blog with the ad space given to Google AdSense about the ColorFit Pro. So I was like, okay, fine, you know what? If the company is advertising it so heavily, I might as well take a look at it. I mean, I've had a bunch of fitness trackers before, but I've never used one with a colored display like this one. It looks pretty good on the pictures. But of course, everyone has their own thoughts. So here are mine. I have to hand it to Noise with regards to the packaging. I'm pretty much impressed with it. Everything was very well thought out, and the box felt tight, if you know what I mean. You know, when the package feels tight to open, it's like pretty well made. It's very well optimized. They haven't used any air gaps in their packaging, unlike the Lay's chips that we have, which is 75% air. Packet food jokes aside, I really do like the way it's presented. The strap and the watch are like aligned right next to one another, and they look really professional. I like it. You see a bunch of materials like a plastic covering the front, and when you lift it, there is a paper tray separating the two. It really looks great. I mean, I know that unboxing is something we all do just once with the product. Once we unbox it and we like it, it ends up with us. And then we just throw the box away. But first impression is the best impression, and if you feel good while unboxing it, chances are you end up liking the product a bit more, and you are willing to work around the drawbacks that it has. That's a secret psychology game companies play with you, and god damn it works. Well, once you get it out of the box, the manual says that you have to charge it, and for good reason. I mean, mine was completely dead out of the box. I couldn't power it on at all. So I had to plug it into this strange looking charger. I kind of wish that they didn't have a charger separate for this. I mean, I like the design. It's directly compatible with USB-A, and it has this, what is this, a crab's claw, I guess, a lobster's claw, kind of a design to hold the watch in place. You can even charge it comfortably with the straps on it. But you have to carry this with you in case you are running low on battery and you're moving out somewhere. That wasn't a problem with my older fitness trackers. I've had quite a lot, and most of them, in fact all of them, could charge through a USB-A directly. Let me show you. This is the one that I was using before this. It's sent to me from Musili. Musili makes pretty good fitness trackers. Not the best in the world. They don't have a touchscreen and everything, but neither does this. More on that later. But when you just slip out the strap underneath the home button here, it has a USB outlet. I don't know what you call this, but USB extension, I guess. This plugs in directly into your power bank or something, and it starts charging. Just like that. See? Yeah, I haven't been using this for a while, so it's completely dead. But see how simple that is? You can charge that anywhere. I mean, you will carry your battery pack with wherever you go, or at least I do. So charging this thing is not a big issue at all. Whereas this one, if it dies on me when I'm on a 1 week vacation or somewhere and I forgot to carry my charger, there is literally nothing I can do, because unless someone else has the exact same thing, I can never charge this thing, even if I have a bunch of USB cables with me. I'm not a fan of proprietary chargers, whether it is in laptops or watches or smartphones. Smartphones don't ship with proprietary chargers anymore. Thank goodness for that, right? It only has a 150 mAh battery, which is not that big, but it still took quite a long time to charge. I remember leaving it in for more than, I think, half an hour, and it was still not charging. When I came back after 35 minutes, it said fully charged. They do warn you not to use any chargers which are rated for higher than 5 volts and 2 amps. That's just for its protection, I guess. I just used my Galaxy Note 8's adaptive fast charger. That thing has variable voltage, so it adapts itself according to the device which is demanding power. So this thing is fine with that. But still, 5 volt 2 amps is a pretty good amount of current. I'm surprised it took that long to charge just 150 milliamp hours. Something must be going on. I bet it's that stupid charger. Because USB to USB cables are a lot more efficient than that. This pin hole kind of a connector, I don't know how efficient it is carrying out 5 volts 2 amps to the watch. Anyway, once it is charged, it will give you a pretty good amount of standby. I mean, I charged it 2 days ago and it still is at, hang on, I don't read a percentage here unless I connect it to my phone, but I would say it's about 75%, which is great. I've been using this a lot. It was a review period after all. And I think that's a nice transition to the things I like and things I don't like about this. So let's divide that. To end on a positive note, let's start with the cons. Things that I don't like, because I love whining about things. They don't call me Captain Skeptical for nothing. I'm kidding. No one calls me Captain Skeptical. Please don't start calling me that. Don't worry. I didn't move away from you. See, I'm right here. It's just a wide angle lens. I didn't break up with you. Because you and I will always be close. Before my roommate calls the police, let's continue with the video. Okay, major cons. First of all, this thing does not have a touchscreen. I don't understand how this thing cannot have a touchscreen. I mean, it has a relatively big screen and it's a colored display. Come on, noise. I thought it was common sense to put touchscreen on this thing. The UI is colorful. It's really intuitive, or it would have been really intuitive if you had touch gestures on it. I'm not talking about a very capacitive touchscreen like our smartphones. Even a resistive one will do just fine. It's a fitness tracker. You won't be using this all the time. You're not watching YouTube videos on this. Although that would be really cool. But my point is, lack of a touchscreen makes this user interface really not that fun to use. Even though it has a lot of menus and different options, which would have been a lot easier to swipe through, you have to use this single button which is there. And that only goes in one direction. So if you're tapping on the options to get to one and by mistake you miss it, you have to go through all the options once again because it only goes in a cycle. I hate that. I hate that so much. Most of the fitness trackers are like that. Why? Why can't you take cues from my favorite fitness tracker brand, MemoFit? You may not have heard of them because they are a relatively small brand, but I used their fitness tracker for quite a long time. In fact, they were my first fitness tracker brand. They approached me back when I was still in my engineering days. It was, I think, 1.5 years ago. No, it was actually 2 years ago. Damn, I am old. But yeah, they approached me with their fitness tracker for me to market, and that thing was great. It didn't have any color display. It was a lot like this thing over here. It just had a, whatever you call this, black and white backlit display with very minimal animations like this. But it was great. It had a touchscreen for on and off functions, and you could even swipe through menus like this. I would forgive them if they didn't have a touchscreen on a tiny surface area like this. But this thing with such a huge screen, are you telling me you can't put a resistive panel on there? No, man. These clunky, cumbersome menus would be a lot easier to navigate through. And if you insist on having a button, have a small button on the side. Why take up space on the front where you can have all the display real estate? At least take design cues from the Apple Watch. I mean, noise people are clearly trying to replicate the Apple Watch's design. I mean, does this not look like an Apple Watch to you? Especially with the light reflection falling on it. If I didn't tell you that this was a noise, what was the name? But if I didn't tell you this was a noise ColorFit Pro, you would probably mistake it for an Apple Watch. But to a keen eye, you would notice the absence of that crown wheel. This very watch, if you remove the branding on top and the ridiculous button on the front, it would look a lot better because the edges are naturally curved. It's called 2.5D, I believe. It looks really great. The next negative point is something that I already touched up upon. It's the weird charger. Where is it? I already misplaced it. Great. Found it. It's here. Seriously, don't lose this. If you lose this, I don't know if they sell replacement chargers, but if they don't, you're screwed. This is the only way to charge up this thing. And even though it's not very expensive, this thing is pretty important. You have to carry this with you everywhere. If you have an everyday carry bag or a rucksack which you take with you wherever you go, make sure you put this in. I am not a fan of proprietary chargers. That's the second time I've said that in this video. But make it a universal solution. I don't care which one it is. Even if it is micro USB, I would be fine with it. Third one is the display quality. Yes, this colored display, even though it looks pretty dang good indoors, it's not very bright outdoors. You won't believe how many times I've complained about dim displays on fitness trackers. I think almost all the time I've contacted the manufacturers and told them that your display is way too dim to be used outdoors. And I have cranked the display to the max in this. I always keep it at max brightness because max brightness seems like normal brightness indoors and it seems very dim outdoors. So yeah, the display brightness is not that great. Like any fitness tracker, this thing also has notification mirroring. When it pairs to your smartphone, it can show the exact notifications that your phone is getting, like WhatsApp messages, Facebook notifications, Twitter notifications, whatever. And it vibrates. Obviously, when you get a notification, it vibrates. The vibration is so weak. I have pretty thin hands, and that's the reason why most of the watches and fitness trackers that I wear are a little bit loose around my wrists. But I try to wear them as tight as possible. And even I gave this to my friend who has pretty stouty, chubby wrists. And even he said that vibrations are pretty weak on this thing. This thing has a metal frame. I mean, the entire body is made of metal except the front glass. So you need to be a little bit more powerful when it comes to vibrations, because metal doesn't conduct vibrations as easily as plastic does. Then there are some bugs in the app that needs to be ironed out. Like this bug, for example, where I was trying to change the watch face and download more of them. And even though I had perfectly working 4G connection, it was saying that your internet is not connected, try again or something like that. I think it's some kind of a server connectivity issue. I'm not sure what that is, but it needs to be fixed. For the most part, the app is great. It looks great. It doesn't eat a lot of battery like the app on this thing does. The app that comes with this fitness tracker is notorious. I uninstalled it within a week. My smartphone's built-in security software kept warning me about excessive battery drainage with this this fitness tracker's app. It was called, I think, Very Fit Pro or something like that. But this fitness trackers app, the ColorFit Pro's app, is really well optimized for Android. It works great. And that leads us nicely into the pros, because I'm done complaining about this. So let's just check out the things that I really like about this. First up is, of course, the build quality. I've already praised it many times for how well it's made, because the entire sides are made of metal and the front is made of pretty good quality glass. It's great. It feels good in your hand, and when you wear it, it feels good around your wrist, like it's supposed to. It has pretty good battery life, just like most fitness trackers. Again, it will give you about a week's battery life, because that's what I estimate by my usage. I have been using it pretty heavily for the last 3 days. If I continue using the same way, I will get about 7 days of usage out of this. If that doesn't happen, I'll pin a comment down below saying that the battery life is better or worse than what I expected. But as of now, in the early impressions of this, definitely the battery life is pretty good. This thing has IP68 water resistance. I mean, I thought that's pretty dope. My smartphone also has IP68, and the reason why I think it's so dope is because IP, or ingress protection, is a standardized rating, meaning that it has to be handed over to a separate organization which does all these tests and makes sure that this device is as durable as they claim it to be. IP68 makes a device completely dust proof and exceptionally water resistant. You've seen how Samsung brags about their smartphones for years, and of course they've gotten tired of it and they've stopped doing that. But IP68 is a great rating. I even tested it by holding it under the tap for a while. It was obviously fine. Tap water is nothing when it comes to a device which has IP68 rating. It's like trying to hurt a leopard with a needle. I guess that's one of the upsides of owning this watch. You will be pleased to know that it is very weatherproof. So feel free to just wear it out in the rain and just play football, I guess. And speaking of playing football, assuming that you are into cardio, which I totally am into cardio, by the way, believe me. You're supposed to believe everything I say. I'm a reviewer, remember? All the other features in this watch, which are meant for fitness, they work fine. Heart rate sensor, the other thingy here, everything works great. Heart rate sensor is kind of hit or miss sometimes. And even they mention in their packaging that it's just for a rough understanding and should not be taken for medical references. In case you're planning on taking this as your BP measuring device, don't do that. The approach that these fitness trackers take towards your heart rate measuring is that some kind of idea about your heart rate is better than no idea at all. At least you'll know that your heart is beating somewhere in the hundreds of a minute when your crush is passing by. So that's something. I kind of noticed that the step counter doesn't automatically like increment steps as you're walking. I tried to walk around for a while and see if the steps go up dynamically. They don't. They just refresh to another number after a while. Like if they are 6,850 right now, after a minute they'll suddenly jump to 7,032. They don't dynamically show you the steps as you're taking them. I do like the fact that you can change watch faces and you can assign whatever wallpaper that you want from your gallery. I have something from the Dragon Ball Z. I don't know what that is. My friends tell me it's the merger of Vegeta and Goku. Oh, Gogeta. That's Gogeta. I learned something new today. You can have a picture of your cats or your favorite movie star or some other star if you want. But it has to reboot every single time. It doesn't take much time to reboot, but it shows you all the fancy messages like upgrading UI or something like that. First of all, noise. It's not upgrading, it's just updating. It's not upgrading to a newer version of itself. Of course, depending on your wallpaper, it could be an upgrade or a downgrade, depending on what you set as your lock screen picture. But it's not upgrading your UI, it's updating your UI. Grammar. That tasted funny. I sincerely hope that was water I drank. Anyway, we come to an end of this video. I have listed all the cons and pros that I found and given you my honest opinions about the Noise ColorFit Pro. It's a great fitness tracker. I loved it. Although it's not the best experience that I had out of a fitness tracker. Well, for the price of 3,000 rupees, I think this is a pretty good smartwatch. If you're okay with all the general annoyances that I found, then go ahead and buy this. I'll leave a link down there. Also, I'll leave a link to the MioFit Drive. If you really want a great fitness tracker with a touchscreen, trust me, it's amazing. You should check it out. It might cost a little bit more than this, which is surprising because this thing has a much better build quality and a colored display. Maybe it's the lack of the touchscreen that makes it more affordable. This is a long video. Okay, I'm done. You'll find all the links for these products in the description along with the link to my blog dopetechfever.com. You should definitely check it out for detailed written articles of the products that I get. Sometimes I'll also post other things which I do not make videos about, so I guess it's worth taking a look at. A funky pair of shoes with weird colors and 2 earphones are on their way. So stick around if you want to, and I'll see you next time. Bye.